giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
The Klub Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Klub.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
The Klub Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Have you
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame. Brought to you by Chambers and Galen Law Firm with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.
And welcome to another episode of Tiger Talk Live. It is finally game day. Jackson State, Grambling, two blue blood programs within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Charles Bishop with my man Neely. I tell you what, Neely, Grambling, Jackson State, 25 SWAC championships, 16 SWAC championships. These two programs are two bellwether programs within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. This is going to be a good one today.
It is going to be a good one, Chuck. I want to welcome everybody to this version, the pregame show, Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club, man. You couldn't get two more iconic programs opening up the SWAC spring season, iconic spring season. You know, never been one played, forced to be here during the pandemic. But you got Grambling, and you think about Eddie Robinson and all those greats. And then you think about the Jackson State Tigers. I want you to notice now, I didn't say Grambling Tigers. They're not the Tigers today. They're Grambling. We're the Tigers. So you got the Jackson State Tigers traveling to Grambling, man, with that iconic and rich history, and now trying to build on tradition, blaze new trails under this Coach Prime era. Couldn't pick a better day to have this game take place. So, man, we got a lot of stuff to get into, Chuck, to unpack. We kick off in an hour on ESPN3. So this show is being brought to you live from Churchill Smoke Shop in Jackson. So if you're around town, come on, pull up for the live show and then watch the game here. But, Chuck, this is going to be a tremendous 60 minutes before kickoff. And just looking forward to the guests, the conversation, and I love Jackson State.
No doubt about it. Jam-packed hour here on Tiger Talk Live. Our Tigers, they visit the infamous Exit 81 today to go in the hole to take on the Grambling Tigers. You know, Neely, there's, the date says March 6th. There's a little bit of a chill in the air. It kind of has that fall feel to it. And we had a podcast episode where we talked about, where fans kind of get into the spring season. Throw that out, man. The social media buzz for this game alone has been tremendous. A lot of excitement in the air. Looking forward to today.
Yeah, you have a lot of folks going to the spring season who were kind of putting that asterisk on it that, oh, it's not a real season. We got to just get ready for the fall. And these are fans from every school all across the board that had that mindset. But as this game got closer, or should I say, as the spring season kicked off, we kicked off against Edward Waters. As these things took place and happened, you could see and hear that energy and excitement, and it matches a fall football season, particularly this game. Our first WAC opponent, we had Valley on the schedule, and they had to opt out of that game, postpone it for COVID reasons. So we're wishing them the best, and hopefully we still get that game underway March 14th, Sunday here in Jackson. But for this week, all the discussion on social media, all the buzz has been that trash talking between the real Tigers of 1400 Lynch Street and Grambling. So you wouldn't know that this is a spring season, not only with that little slight chill in the air, but just that excitement as well is just as high as it would be during the fall football season.
No doubt, man. You touched on it when we last saw our Tigers on the field of play. 53-0 win over Edward Waters. Tremendous victory. A lot of people kind of put some little asterisk mark, in terms of playing the NAIA team. But I tell you what, this team, we talked about it. They went out there and they did what was expected of them. And I turned to you on the sideline down there at the game, and I said, it's been a long time since Jackson State did what the fans were really expecting. They went out and they dominated the game.
Chuck, you gave the quote of the week when you said that right there on that sideline, and even during the post-game show after the Coach Prime press conference. That's exactly what happened. People want to talk about, well, it was a down opponent from a weaker division, this, that, and the other. But the truth is, we matched and or exceeded expectations. That's what you want from your ball club. We went out there. I think we had only 3 possessions that we didn't score. Only one of those possessions was a 3-and-out. So we pitched a shutout on defense. They didn't. I think they went across to 50 one time in the whole game, and some substitutions were made, and that got corrected. So you're just trying to evaluate some talent out there. And offense scored, and 53-0 win. And people can say, well, it was Edward Waters, this, that, and the other. And you were hoping to get that next level rise up test against Valley. And again, that game got postponed. But here we are going into Exit 81, which if you do the alligator sign, to me, that's less than 1400 Lynch Street. So I believe 1400 Lynch Street is the greater iconic, path to greatness. So we're just going to see how this unfolds today. It's going to be a great discussion leading into this game because the fans are right on both sides. This is not Edward Waters, but this is also not the Jackson State team of the past 9 years. So we have to put all things in the blender and see what comes out.
No doubt about it. And you touched on it, not the Jackson State team of the past 9 years. Grambling holds the edge in terms of the head-to-head meetings. A lot of headway has been made over the past 20 years in terms of Grambling's program. But when you take a look at this iteration of the Grambling program now, Broderick Fobbs, when you talk about Coach Fobbs, he's coming into his 8th season today. And I tell you what, when he took over this Grambling program, we remember, where it was within what was happening within the Grambling program. But he has taken it to new levels. And in a lot of ways, Coach Fobbs has put pressure on the rest of the coaching alumni around the Southwestern Athletic Conference alumni, because he was able to get things done so quickly at Grambling. He's really put a lot of pride back in that Grambling program.
Well, I would say to you, Chuck, in the words of our good friend, fellow broadcaster Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Because one thing we have to keep in mind in this history of this Fobbs era, this all came to pass. This rise on their end when they failed to show up for a game. A game that I submit to you would have been 2 out of 9 for us had that game been played. So clearly. When you look at the recent history of this rivalry, they have had the upper hand. But one thing that we have to realize is that the folks who were on that team 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago are not here. You have new dynamic players on Jackson State defense, new dynamic players on Jackson State's offense, new coaching philosophy. We've had some shortened practice weeks going to this spring, and we'll see what's going to be the driver for this game. Will it be the offensive or defense side of the ball? But this is one of those times because of this spring season and the nuances that go with it, from the water issues that we had here in Jackson to preparation for this game to already having a middle opponent between our opener and this one canceled. This is going to be one of those games where you kind of throw records out the window and just see what's going to take place.
No doubt about it. I think we have our first guest queued up. He is the Director of Player Personnel for Jackson State University. Coach Otis Ridley. Coach Ridley, welcome back into Tiger Talk Live.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing today?
Doing good, Coach, man. Always a pleasure to see you, Coach. And we got to point out to the fans that you are in Grambling, Louisiana. You took exit 81. You know, you're there with the Tigers of Jackson State University in Grambling. So it's good to not only have Coach O with us, Director of Player Personnel, Director of Recruiting for Jackson State University, but he is live there in Grambling. So, Coach, talk to us about the energy. What does it feel like out there?
It's a good day for swag football, man. Guys are excited. That all white looking good, man. That white man is looking good out there on the field, man. So we're excited to be here in Grambling past Eddie Robinson Museum. There's a lot of history down here. We looking forward to making a little bit ourselves today.
No doubt about it, Coach. You know, when we take a look at the matchup with regards to today's game, Jalen Jones had a tremendous outing 2 weeks ago against Edward Waters, played a very efficient game, and he's going against Jeremy Hickbottom today. Jeremy Hickbottom, during his tenure at Grambling, he's been 11-8, a little bit of a drop-off from the days of Devontae Kincaid, but just kind of taking a look at the quarterback play, what is it that you've seen out of Jalen Jones lately that you've really been excited about?
Yeah, he's still maturing as a quarterback, still maturing as a young college football player. We can't forget that he's just a sophomore. He's just a sophomore, got a lot of football left in front of him, but he's done a good job of doing just what the coaches have asked him to do. And that's just not turn the ball over. Be careful with the football, give our defense a chance to get stops and ultimately get wins. And so we got one under our belt. And so hopefully today we can get another one.
No doubt.
Sounds good. So, you know, Chuck, as you and I talked before Coach came on, there's been some challenges all season long getting ready for this spring season. You know, we went through some COVID issues getting ready for Edward Waters. We got ready to play Valley. Valley had some COVID issues. Then we had an ice storm disrupt the flow. You've almost had what seems to be a normal week, Coach O. You know, we have to define normal differently each week, but this past week, getting ready for Grambling was almost a normal week. Talk to us about that preparation, what you saw from the spirit of the guys leading into this first SWAC game, because our other SWAC opener got postponed. So this is the SWAC test today.
Definitely. Well, you know, the first thing is you got a little bit extra preparation time with the cancellation of last week's game. And we did not, you know, take any days off. We got right back to work, getting ready for Grambling. And we know how, you know, monumental this game is for the Tiger fans. And we want to make sure we put our best foot forward. Throughout the week, the guys have been, you know, on top of their game. They've been preparing well. You know, looking at the huddle times, we can track how much they're watching film. The huddle times are at an all-time high. You know, guys are locked in, guys are ready to play. So it's been really refreshing to see these guys focus the way they're focused. And I'm telling you, you know, I got on this call, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I told you the dark side defense was back then. I told you that. And I think these guys are ready to play some ball, man. I just really feel like these guys are ready to lay some wood and get down to business.
You know, Coach O, when you mentioned that dark side defense, we're going to bring on a guy from Big Daddy's dark side defense a little later on in the show, you know, talking about those days. And he's looking forward to that conversation. But I tell you, man, you were spot on. You know, you came on Tiger Talk. We were there at Memorial Stadium, and you told us what that defense was going to do based on preparation. And Chuck, let me tell you this, man. I don't care what organization you're in. You may never come across the CEO. You may never come across the CFO or director of marketing, but you're going to always deal with that person for personnel. And so
Yes.
when we have Coach O on, I want the fans out there to know you're talking to the guy and hearing from the guy that has his pulse on that team. You know, he's position coaches have what they do, but he touches all those players and aspects. So he's able to bring that different viewpoint on and say, hey man, this is what I've seen. This is what we're bringing to the table. And I'm excited, Chuck, to hear about that film preparation, that you can track
Yes.
those hours. Excited to hear that we didn't have any wasted motion and movement this week in preparation for this game. Coach O, that's outstanding information, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I'm gonna just tell you guys, man. You know, when you're playing teams like Grambling who have that historical value to themselves, you can't leave anything to chance. And I think the staff has done a great job this week of uncovering every stone we can uncover. We watched the entire 2019 season. We're not leaving nothing to chance today. And so if the guys come out, play mistake-free football, and really focus in on what Coach Prime and these guys have told them to do, we're gonna have a great chance of walking this thing with that W today.
Man, let's bring that W back, Coach. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, you know, Coach, and I wanted to hone in on this part. I mean, when we talk about Grambling, we talk about a team that has been one of the top defensive teams in this league over the past few years. Always a tremendous defensive line, and I know you pay attention to that trench work play. Talk a little bit about what we need to do from a offensive line, defensive line standpoint today to really get this victory today.
Be physical. Be physical. Be physical. That's it, man. That's it. Be physical. We know what to do. We know how to get it done. But ultimately, how bad do you want it? And that's what we pressed on these guys all week. How bad do you want it? Do you want this game as bad as you want to live? If you want this game as bad as you want to live, we got a hell of a chance to get this W. And so that's my thing. These guys have to know the intensity that you have to play with to beat guys like this. We can't come into their house and be passive. We got to be the aggressive, be the hammer, not the nail. And so that's what we on today. We trying to be the hammer today. And I wouldn't tell you nothing that Coach Prime wouldn't tell you guys. I promise you, these guys have been tuning up all week to get ready to play this team very well. No matter the outcome, I am confident that our preparation has got us ready to play.
That's huge.
Man, that's huge. It's a game changer. It's a new atmosphere. It's a new vibe. You know, we talked to a couple of players after the Edward Waters game, Coach, and Keontae said, Hampton, he said, look, man, one of the key differences is just that consistency and discipline, that the expectation and the standard is set and everybody's held to. It doesn't matter if you're a starter, if you're coming off the bench, doesn't matter what your last name is, your seniority, everybody's held to the same standard. And to hear you talk about their preparation, this is some good energy going into this classic rivalry, this great matchup.
And no doubt, Coach, you know, Coach Prime has this saying, I'm not one for peer pressure, but I put pressure on my peers.
Say it again, preacher. Say it again, preacher. Say it again, preacher.
I'm not one for peer pressure, but I put pressure on my peers, baby. And that's what every guy on this team to a man is doing, holding each other accountable, even on the coaching staff. Guess what, guys? That's why I got so much energy, because before the game, I wouldn't walk me 2 miles around the field. I'm ready to play myself today. I'm telling these guys are energetic. We're ready to get after it. I wish if every JSU fan could come sell this stadium out and we run these other Tigers out of here, I wish we could. But no different. I know you're at home. You watched it on the live. Hey, let's have fun, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, Coach, this past week, Coach Prime mentioned that these Tigers are built for the moment. Kind of go into what that means.
Well, Coach Prime does a great job putting pressure on these guys in practice. You know, from the just the conversation, from the situations we go through in practice, from the preparation off the field, it's always high intensity around this program where we're trying to make sure our guys do not get frail in the moment of struggle, of strain. And so when our guys learn the fact that we have to strain every play, that's what Coach Prime has been teaching. Strain every play. It's easier to stay in the moment because you're not going to let moments pass you by when you know you're straining just for that next play. We ain't straining for the end of the game. It's just the next play that we want to win.
Dynamic. And on that vein, Coach, you know, one of the things that we have going for us, it's almost like those glory days in the 80s and early 90s, where you're so loaded with depth, that practice and the intensity of practice, that you're not only practicing at a level the Coach Prime and the staff wants you at, but you're going up against a guy that's just as good, as not better, than your opponent will be for the week. And so when you look at Coach Prime and his career, you know, he's practicing against Michael Irvin, practicing against Jerry Rice, practicing against Andre Rison, and you look at our receivers having to practice against DeJohn Warren or practice against Zay Bolden. man, when you get that strain, we can practice hard and play easy, coach. Like this is the kind of Tiger football that we've been wanting to get back.
Yeah, no doubt. A good guy that plays football and baseball, Coach Brian Jordan, came by the field house this week, and he said the same thing. The practices back then were so intense that you had no choice but to show up on game time, and that's the same thing here. If our boss man's his moniker is prime time, as a team, as the men that follow him, we have to be ready to show up in prime time, and so that's what our attitude is. We take on that mentality of our leader, and I promise you, we're ready to play today.
No doubt about it, Coach. Well, I tell you what, you've pumped me up, pumped Neely up.
Yes,
I think our fans are around the world are pumped up just listening to you and talking about the preparation of our Tiger team. Coach, really always pleasure and for whenever you come in to Tiger Talk Live and kind of take us behind the curtain, if you will, for this Jackson State football team.
No doubt. Anytime, guys. Looking forward to it for the rest of this season. And I just want to give you a picture of that field out there. Them boys are looking good in that all white, man. I'm telling you now.
I like it.
Hey, see, Coach, I got to tell you before we let you go, because we appreciate your time. And again, as Chuck said, always welcome on Tiger Talk, particularly the pregame show, man. We love having you. But a little birdie told me about the all white today, so I had to go ahead and get with it.
Hey, you looking sharp, man. And look, hey, Neely, I'm gonna tell you this before I go, man. Hey, we here in Grambling, but yesterday you posted a picture from 30 years ago of me, man. I promise you I don't look like that no more.
Hey, neither do I.
Hey, it's good talking to you guys.
Hey,
man.
brother, God bless you, man. God bless you. Appreciate your leadership, Coach. Lead those Tigers to victory. We'll be here when you get back in town, man.
Hey, no doubt. Y'all be safe. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. That was Coach Otis, really Director of Player Personnel. We'll take a quick break here on the Black College Sports Network. It's Charles Bishop and Neely. We'll be right back.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
The Klub Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Klub.
Chuck.
Brother Neely.
Hey, man, what about that red meat from Coach O right there?
Hey, man, that's what Coach O really got me frothy, if you will. Ready to watch.
Man, I was about to take these headsets off, get in the car, and hit I-20 West, man, and try to get there at least by halftime to get on the field.
There you go. Well, I tell you what, Coach O really set the scene, set the mood, if you will, for Jackson State in terms of taking on this Grambling team. A different mindset, if you will, in this Jackson State program in terms of trying to get the job done today.
Yeah, totally different mindset. Starts with preparation, the details that they're giving all that attention to, tracking the young men and managing discipline and managing expectations and getting ready in spite of all of these challenges, whether it be through a pandemic or through ice storms, weather, loss of water, that they've done the key things to prepare for this SWAC matchup today. And so to hear that energy from Coach O and to see that field scene and to see that all white from the real Tigers, because again, we're the Tigers, they're Grambling. That this is just going to be a good day for football. Speaking of Grambling, we got a next guest coming on, just waiting for some connectivity issues to get by, but we'll bring him on as soon as we can. And he's actually representing Graham and HBCUs in the NFL. So we always put the spotlight on HBCUs, even if it's for our with our opponent for the day. We're still all in this thing together as we lift and rise HBCUs and try to get us all back to those glory days and beyond. And let me encourage our fans out there that are watching the pregame show brought to you by the Black College Sports Network and Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. If you're watching via your Facebook stream, make some comments. The comments come across the bottom. We've been seeing some comments from I Love, and had even a couple of Graham fans sneak in some comments. So y'all make sure y'all track those comments and participate in the show. If you're in Jackson, come on out to Churchill Smoke Shop. You can watch the game here on ESPN3. They're running beer specials today, running cigar specials today. Glad they brought us in to host us, Chuck, and looking forward to the next home game. Hopefully this March 14th takes place, and we get that on the schedule, and we'll be back together in person. And I see our next guest is here. A good friend, good guy. Chad Williams, man. He is out of Grambling. You can see that G on his shirt, and people are like, man, what is Tiger Talk doing? What is the pregame show doing? Having the enemy on. Well, one thing that we're about, man, is just the uplift of all HBCUs, and we couldn't be prouder of Chad. Was drafted in the third round, 2017 draft, wide receiver out of Grambling. Want to welcome you, man, to the pregame show. Welcome you to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Chad, how you feeling today, man?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm down here and I wasn't able to make the game. I'm down here in New Orleans, Louisiana, just trying to soak up some of this game day atmosphere. I'm sitting on the balcony. One of the most beautiful days we had in the South Louisiana weather, man. I know it's probably looking even more better in Grambling. So I guess it's just game day morning. I got some wings on. Got the TV ready, fired up. I'm here, man. I'm ready for a good old clash today, man.
Yeah, Chad and Chuck, when they put the schedule out for the spring, man, Chad and I were communicating and like, hey, we're going to be there. But, the pandemic said otherwise. It hadn't eased up yet. So we're all trying to stay safe, do the right thing, and let the people that are necessary to be there. And but we'll be together this fall, Chad. We'll catch out your NFL games, and we're going to get through the day. We're going to still be brothers after. We're going to talk a little smack before we get into it.
Chad, I wanted to ask this question. You were there at the beginning of this transformation, if you will, of the Grambling football program, especially when Coach Fobbs came in and took over the program, and you guys turned it around. I believe in year two of Roger Fobbs' era, you guys went 9-0. But just talk about that transformation that Coach Fobbs brought to this proud Grambling football team.
Well, when Coach Fobbs initially stepped a foot through the door, he harped on the details. He made us focus on the details, and he really taught us. I guess he showed us exactly how to win, how to have a killer mentality, how to have killer instinct, and just killing that with a sledgehammer, like the old Eddie Roberts say, But I guess he brought a great sense of urgency to the guys, and everybody just gravitated around him. And we just believed in the process, man, and got that thing rolling, man. I think we actually probably that year we got our first SWAC win against Jackson State that year at Jackson State. And it started, and that win for a guy like me coming off the 1-11 year, had all the big time name guys at Jackson State my freshman year, a couple nice defensive players over there. And it was kind of like, man, are those guys that much better? So I guess more year, it gave us so much confidence and showed us that we belong, and we just took it and built from it and never looked back.
Sure.
Yeah, good stuff, Chad, because that's we are trying to go where you guys went, have that culture shift, have that change in leadership where you get guys to buy into a system and change programs around. The records are what they are. The past 9 years, we've gotten one win, against Grambling. So you guys are up in that regard. And now we are entering that phase that you guys did when you brought in a new coach to kind of change that culture, to change that mindset, to believe like, no, we got what it takes to do it and we can do it. So, based on whether it's Coach Fobbs or Coach Sanders, how important to a team is it for the leadership at the top to set that standard and lead the way?
Coach, it's probably the most important thing of them all. Head coach is the head of the team. How he acts, how he walks, how he talks, how he dresses. We follow the platoon. The platoon is gonna follow. If you lay out your vision on that board and we can see your vision clear and you present it to us as clear as you want it, we're gonna fall in line and we're gonna follow. So I feel like that's where the nutrients is coming from the top, and it's gonna trickle down. So if you want the right things to trickle down, then it must start from above.
You know, Chad, when you talk about playing for this Grambling football program, you played in the Celebration Bowl. You won a couple of SWAC championships, but the pride that you guys really play with that G on your chest, take us in the locker room in terms of what it means to play for Grambling football.
Man, coaches, it's different. It's really different to play for that G, man. Put that G on your chest. You walk through campus and you realize you're standing on the shoulder of greats, man. I can go on and on naming guys: Doug Williams, Willie Brown, Everson Walk. I can go on and on. So when you think of those names and you think about the blood, the sweat, the tears, the sacrifice, you think about Eddie Robb coming down that hallway with that bell at 5 a.m, ringing those guys up and waking those guys up. And then you walk around campus and you realize, man, they did that right here in Grambling. You know, and you tend to walk in a museum and you see all the names and the jerseys and the plaques on the wall. And as a kid, it just blows your mind. It's just like, this is where I belong. This is why I want to be. Yeah. And then you get into the locker room and you feel the camaraderie from the brothers and the brotherhood, and then the coaches accept you. I can walk and sit in my head coach office any time of the day I want to, you know, and talk to him about problems, life issues. He showed me he showed guys on my team how to tie a tie. He showed us how to do things outside of football. And then the brotherhood and the bond, the workouts, you know, just having a whole lot of guys that want to accomplish one goal, man. It just brings you into this sense of factor. It's like, yeah, we're the guys and we're not going to be touched, and whoever in front of us, they just got to see us, you know. So putting that G on your chest, it's a real big sense of pride, and it gives you a sense of urgency, man. I tell guys all the time, if I could rewind time, I do everything the same way. You know, I wear that G with pride. Ain't nothing bigger than the G. And yeah, man, that's just what it is, man. Guys I can go on and on, man. Guys are super passionate. My sophomore year, that same year we were talking about, we beat Alcorn. We beat Alcorn in the hole. I think it was 21-7. So Alcorn was really good at that time. We had just got the new black jerseys, man. So, you know, we were just feeling real good. And I realized how much the G meant to guys that day. Alcorn does this little thing, this little Samoan sumo where they stump and hit the helmets they were doing back then because they had all the sumo guys. So they came to the 50-yard line pregame and they stumped on the G. Everybody was just stomping on the G. When I got back in the locker room, like 10 minutes before kickoff, we had guys in the locker room really crying real tears because they stomped on the G and because that's so disrespectful. It wasn't even, you didn't even see guys in the locker room mad and throwing stuff around, and guys were really sitting in their lockers sulking because guys were out there stomping on the G, and we went out there and handled business. And that's the day I fell in love. I was like, man, it's really that deep behind the G, and if guys are gonna ride like that behind the G, I'm on the bus every time.
I got to tell you, Chad, that's, you know, I love when I hear guys talk about their HBCU because it mirrors how we feel about ours. And again, this is all about the brand of HBCUs. Make no mistake about it. You see what's on my chest and I see what's on yours, but we love black people who love their blackness and celebrate it. I got two questions for you, Chad, before we get into the NFL stuff. I want to go a little bit before Graham because I know you're SWAC and you're HBCU down. How does a guy out of Baton Rouge go to Grambling?
Man, to be honest, I can't even tell you that. I can't say. When there's a legend named Coach Roach out of Baton Rouge, and when there's another legend named Doug Williams, Coach Roach, he coached defensive coordinator at Grambling a long time ago. He's just this. Coach Roach is this big legendary coach in Baton Rouge. You guys may know him. He's actually the dad of Malcolm Roach, who just went from Texas to the New Orleans Saints. So that's his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, long story short, man, Coach Roach badly knew me from a can of paint. Met me a couple days. He knew me for like a semester. He called Coach. He never coached me or nothing. He called Coach Doug on the spot. Said, Coach Doug, I got a kid for you. Coach Doug, he handed me the phone. I talked to Coach Doug. Coach Doug faxed the scholarship. I signed the scholarship, faxed it right back.
The rest is history. Recruitment matters. Who goes to recruit
Recruitment
matters. Got to have
matters,
that
exactly.
leadership. So, Chad, then you're drafted in the third round out of SWAC, out of HBCUs, out of Grambling. You talked about that rich rival tradition of playing Jackson State. How does it feel to be in those NFL locker rooms and represent HBCUs, represent the SWAC? What kind of chip do you have to have on your shoulder around those Power 5 guys and let them know about where we're from?
Man, it feels amazing, man, to represent. You got to represent that SWAC, man. No matter what HBCU you're from, I feel like when you're on a platform or national stage, you're supporting everybody at the same time, because if we at a barbecue, it's not going to be no fighting. It's going to be everybody getting having some nice little food, and we're going to be talking about it as a brotherhood. It's not going to be Jackson over here, Grambling over here, because everybody knows each other. It's a brotherhood and a bond. So it feels really good wearing that HBCU tag around on my chest, everywhere I go, and always keeping that chip on my shoulder, like just letting those guys know I always had to work a little harder than you to get here. I guess that's how it may seem, or that's how it may play out. But all in all, that it's an honor and it's a blessing to really wear that tag on my chest.
Chad, we had Jimmy Smith, former Jacksonville Jaguar, on Tiger Talk Live last time we were on, and he talked about recognizing his talent, especially once he got to the pros, in terms of his talent was just as good as any guy at a Power 5 institution. But when was that light bulb moment for you when you are in training camp and you figure out that, where you've been prepared at Grambling, HBCUs, your talent was just as good as anyone else?
Maybe first day rookie mini camp. First day of rookie mini camp. You get on side guys and you run by guys like I was running past one of my friends at Grambling or one of my homeboys at Mississippi Valley or something, and then you just be like, this thing is really no different, man. Everybody out here is putting their pants on one leg at a time, unless my man Neely might put his on two legs at a time, which I don't know. But you realize that, man, everybody put their pants on one leg at a time, man, and I mean, that's just how it is, Yeah. Your mama called you in the house when the street lights is on, mine too.
Yeah.
Well, you speaking of mama and calling kids, man, last year you were able to kick off a camp and give back to community. And I know this year with the pandemic, things are a little squirrely with that, but talk to us about the importance of, again, being an HBCU guy and making sure now that you're in the NFL that you give something back, to the place you made it from.
You need it one more time?
I said, talk to us about the youth camps that you do during the off season. I know this year, with the pandemic, it had to be shelved and delayed, but talk to us about the importance of giving back from the NFL to where you made it from.
Well, man, it's super important, especially where I'm at. It's all across the world, but especially where I'm at, man, because it's not really too many good areas in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I feel like this generation we live in, it's out of sight and out of mind. Like if they don't see it, they won't believe it, So me putting on those camps and just trying to get that going every year, man, just showing the kids that it is another way and that these things are reality and these things are tangible, This is not something that you just see scrolling on your phone on Instagram and you just think it's so impossible. So that's really good. I get to bring all of those NFL guys and all of those coaches and just to come around those kids that maybe never even seen a scout or maybe never been around an NFL player, and they just feel like, yeah, man, this thing is tangible. And I've had so many kids from that camp just get back at me like, yeah, that camp is really what they needed to see, and it really played a big role in them. And it's actually a lot of kids from that camp really doing good in high school football this year.
Good stuff. Chad, we're coming up against a break, man, and just want to again appreciate you for stopping by. We see the G on your chest, you see the JSU on ours, but it's all about HBCU love now. We do our predictions at the end of the show. I got a feeling who you're going to pick in today's game, just like you got a feeling who I'm going to pick.
Oh, for sure.
But give us a prediction. What you got on the score? What you think y'all doing today?
The scoreboard. Coach, the score is going to be, I've been harping on this, but the score is going to be, we're going to take it 30-22. Grambling.
All right. We got it. We got your
30
prediction. We got your prediction.
Grambling.
We got your prediction. Chad, as always, man, we appreciate the love. Appreciate you stopping by the pregame show and supporting Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Man, God bless you and all that you're doing in the NFL with your career. Man, have a safe and healthy offseason. And, man, looking forward to you getting some touchdowns this fall. And, man, we thee our love, but we supporting you, man, and your endeavors in the league. So, man, God bless you. Keep up that work.
All right.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, man. I'll holler at y'all. Thanks.
Peace,
No
brother.
doubt. We'll take us a break right here. Charles Bishop Neely, Tiger Talk with the 1400. Go ahead, Neil.
As fate would have it, when we come back from break, we got another Chad. We got a Chad from the dark side days under Big Daddy's defense. So y'all stay tuned out there, because after this break, we'll be back with, we'll tell you. You'll see.
Bishop Neely, Black College Sports Network. We'll be back.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Hey, man, we are back, Chuck Bishop. We are back. Great segments coming so far, man, on this beautiful game day. We're live here from Churchill Smoke Shop. We're in Grambling for the game against those Grambling, whatever they're called. We're the Tigers. But it's time, Chuck, for us to, before we get to our next guest, bring them on, take a look around the SWAC to see what's been going on SWAC-wide. We had a lot of games that were postponed because of that ice storm that hit Texas and parts of Mississippi. So, last weekend was supposed to be a big weekend in opening SWAC games, and some of that got postponed. We did get Southern and Alabama on TV, get that to take place on the Friday night. So, Chuck, just talk to us about what you're seeing from around the SWAC.
Sure thing. A lot of great action around the SWAC today. When you take a look at Alabama A&M visiting Orangeburg, South Carolina, to take on the South Carolina State Bulldogs, the Battle of the Bulldogs, if you will. But should be a great game. When we talk about Alabama A&M, we talk about the NFL prospect that is Aqeel Glass, 6'5", 240. But he can really sling the ball around all over the place. He has 2,000-yard receivers in Abdul Fattah Ibrahim, who had 59 receptions last year, 11 touchdowns. Xavier Moore, also a 1,000-yard receiver, 58 receptions. And then they have all SWAC tight end, Kendrick Johnson, and then the return specialist, Brian Jenkins. So they are a juggernaut on the offensive side of the ball. The question with Alabama A&M is, can they make some stops defensively? That's going to be huge for them. When we last saw them play, they were giving up 436 yards per game and 33 points. South Carolina State, you take a look at the teams that have left the MEAC in terms of FAMU and Hampton and A&T and Bethune-Cookman. Well, that sort of vaults South Carolina State when you take a look at where they are within the MEAC. They're going to be a tough team. When you talk about South Carolina State, you talk about Buddy Pugh. He's the reigning coach of the year in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. They had a share of the MEAC championship when we last saw them play. They have a quarterback, Corey Fields, very efficient, 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions when we last saw him. Nice balance from a run and pass. Shaq Davis, wide receiver for South Carolina State, 632 yards and 6 touchdowns. Running back, all MEAC running back, LeBron Moore, 83 yards and 9 touchdowns. So that'll be a great game today with Alabama A&M and South Carolina State. But I think Alabama A&M has more than enough offense to take care of South Carolina State. Moving around the SWAC, you take a look at UAPB and Southern. This will be the home opener for Southern today. When we last saw Southern, of course, they were on ESPN3 taking on Alabama State. They got it done. They got it done on the road. Anytime you can win on the road, huge for Southern. I tell you what, their defensive end, Jordan Lewis, he really caused havoc against Alabama State in their offensive line, 4 sacks in that game. So Southern's defense making an early statement thus far in SWAC play. And then the nightcap tonight is Prairie View and Texas Southern. Texas Southern, the great unknown in terms of what they have offensively. But defensively, Julian Marcantel, he comes back for Texas Southern. He leads the team in tackles. He's a linebacker, kind of unheralded, but he sprints around all over the place and really makes a lot of plays for the Texas Southern defense. But when you talk about Prairie View, you talk about a team that's bringing 9 starters back, Neely, 4 all SWAC selections in defensive lineman Jason Dumas, linebacker Trashad Smith, and defensive backs Drake Cheatham and Jalen Harris. So Prairie View defensively, will they have enough to overcome Southern and Grambling in this spring season? So a lot of great action. All eyes will, of course, be on this early game with Jackson State and Grambling, but a lot of great action in the SWAC today.
Sure, a lot of great action, Chuck, and we need to be aware of that action. And even that South Carolina State game, because as the MEAC, as a conference, is not playing, they're able to fill in games. And who knows, with that opt-out from Alcorn and the open date and potentially Valley having paused football, we're not certain if that game is going to take place for sure. You might see us adding a MEAC opponent in that could be a South Carolina State or a Howard. So we got to watch those games and watch for our future opponents. And you're exactly right on Prairie View bringing that many starters back. That's just one of the key concerns around the SWAC with this abbreviated preparation period. Who was returning the most experienced people?
Exactly.
It's just odd, man, to see Texas Southern and Prairie View. You think about a November rivalry weekend game, and it's taking place the first weekend in March, and it's their SWAC opener for both of them. So we'll see. We'll see.
Labor Day Classic here on March 6th, if you will, for Prairie View. So it should be interesting. They are the nightcap tonight. That game will be out there on the hill in Prairie View. So yes, I'm sure they'll have a nice representation of Prairie View fans out there to catch that game.
Yeah, but first up is Jackson State Grambling. The Tigers, 1400 Lynch Street. Take whatever exit that is in Ruston. Make sure you get something to eat before you get there. And yes, Sarita, I see you, but they can't see you. So thank you for participating in the pregame. She didn't think I was going to bust out. But that's what happens when you're on live, Chuck. When you're on live from a location, that's what happened. So, we're expecting a great game for this noon kickoff on ESPN3. We will be here on the pregame show right into kickoff. But speaking of that rich history of Jackson State and this rivalry, our next guest is available. So we're going to bring on Chad Ford. Chad was a defensive lineman during those James Big Daddy Carson days. Chad is here live with us in Churchill Smoke Shop. So we're going to get in a little bit of that JSU Graham game and then get into some predictions later. But Chad Ford, welcome to the pregame.
Hey, it's my honor and privilege to be here. I am so grateful for the opportunity to share my love for D.I. Love.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Chad, you were one of those standout defensive linemen for Jackson State during the Big Daddy Carson heyday years. Back-to-back SWAC champions, 95, 96, Black College national champions in 1996. I know you pay attention to that trench work, that line play. We talked a little bit with Coach O about that, but what is it that you've seen from this Jackson State defensive line thus far?
I saw some great things, a lot of potential. We have to understand the turnaround in which they're playing right now is very quick. You're talking about a 6 to 8 week turnaround. Normally, they have a whole spring to prepare for a whole fall. Mm-hmm. So that being said, you're looking at active defensive linemen, getting the gaps, the ends, setting the edge, maintaining containment. They're very aggressive. That's the most important thing, that they're high motor. So great things come. Much improvement, great things to come.
Good deal. So, Chad, as a former player, and now that we've embarked on this new era, building on tradition, and you're part of that rich tradition, blazing new trails, such as bringing on Coach Prime and that staff. Talk to us about, from a former player standpoint, the buy-in support, what you're looking to see under the Coach Prime era, and how former players can be, like yourself, can be a part of it.
Well, what we can do is first we kind of stop living in the past. This is not the Jackson State of old. The way we were in the 90s, we would never be what they were in the 80s. What W.C. Gordon did was fantastic. What we did in the 90s doesn't compare to what W.C. Gordon did, but we did one thing, and that was continue the tradition and legacy of what it is Jackson State University football, what is Jackson State University defensive football. And so what we can do now is support Coach Prime, buy into the program. Everyone has a different way of doing things. The main thing is that get behind them, see what it is, help what we can, and just, support.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, one of the things that I think is a sort of a hidden thing within this game today is people talk about a lot of improvement from game 1 to game 2. You, of course, lived it. Talk a little bit about the improvements that you make once you've sort of, I guess, gone through the wars, if you will.
Okay. Coming from a game 1 to game 2, what you're looking at is basic fundamentals, hand placement, lateral movement, lateral steps, make sure you hit your gaps, make sure in blitz packages you go where you need to go, and basically do your job. Be very cognizant of checkouts and make those necessary adjustments to put yourself in a position to win.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Chad, talking to you around the cigar shop here at Churchill from time to time, I know that you are a JSU historian and you truly do bleed the blue. So as it relates to this matchup today against Grambling, this is a new team. Not only a new Jackson State team, it's a new Grambling team. History does have some relevance and connectivity. Talk to us about mental preparation and what your thoughts were leading into those Grambling games and them being so iconic, particularly the Grambling games where you went to Grambling.
Oh, man. The Grambling game was probably one of the worst weeks of practice of your life because Big Daddy was not having it. And that was back then, that was the meat of our schedule because we played Southern, they had to come back and play Grambling. Going to Grambling, the mindset is to be sure that we listen to the coaches, we make sure we was on our P's and Q's, support one another, and just be sure that we do what we have to do, which is execute, make plays, and make plays consistently.
Sure thing. What's some of your greatest memories of playing this Grambling football team?
Oh, man. Probably my first year was in Grambling in 1994. I had a chance to play against Kendrick Nord. And then just my first time ever going into Grambling and walking down in that hole. It was a great experience. Unfortunately, we came out, not the victors that day, but just being in the atmosphere, being on the hollow grounds of Eddie Robinson and all the great Grambling greats. It was a tremendous experience. And then playing them on national TV on ABC, which a lot of people don't remember. That morning, it rained that morning, so a lot of fans didn't come. But, we stopped a great Grambling team and defeated them on national TV.
That's great stuff, man. Chad, it's always pleasure to see you and interact with you because, like I said, you bleed the blue, keeping that tradition alive, those SWAC championships and that national championship that's long overdue to be properly recognized in the city. Some things we've chatted about. So, we just had to keep that momentum going. I tell you what, Chad, if you're going to be around for the game here at Churchill, if you don't mind, we'd love to get you back on at halftime to tell us what you're seeing defensively and be a part of that halftime conversation.
Yes, sir. Would love to. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Oh, man, always a pleasure, man. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Chuck, that was Chad Ford, man. I got to tell you, now, I'm a Jim Hill guy. Y'all know that. And we always have Coach O on and got Chad on. Kason Burke, the men's assistant basketball coach, stopped by. I know we had my guy Woodson on. I'm gonna have to ramp up the Jim Hill presence on this show now. y'all overload me. Y'all overload me with these Provine.
I know the Jim Hill presence is pretty thick here on Tiger Talk.
I don't want to hit nothing from 8 through 3. No, we keeping it with the schools that's by. We keeping it.
Yes, indeed.
So, man, we got another guest that's going to join us, man. That's Jackson native, Callaway product. Speaking of high schools, And we're going to have a quick conversation with him, man, about, just the rich history of being on those sidelines at Jackson State. Is no other than Breland Speaks, who's a Super Bowl champion, won a Super Bowl ring with the Kansas City Chiefs. And Chuck, I got to tell you this and tell all our fans out there. I'm a cowboy, just like you're a cowboy.
Yes.
Breland is now with the New York Giants, and so man, now I gotta soften up a little bit, and I gotta pull for the Giants when they're not playing the Cowboys. Breland Speaks, man. Welcome to the pregame show, brother. How you making it?
Man, I'm good, man. Glad to finally be a part, man. I'm a fan of the show, man. Hey, glad to be on here.
Man, good deal. Glad to have you. As I was mentioning, man, tell a little about yourself. During those SWAC champion days under Coach Comegy, Chuck, you and I on the sideline a couple of weeks ago, and you see those kids down there as the ball boys on the sideline helping the team, soaking it up. We have a young man, JPS product, born and raised right here in Jackson, and grew up on that sideline listening to that boom, and is now all the way in the NFL and still loves, I love Jackson State 1400 Lynch Street. So wanted to bring him on, man, and he's going to stay with us as we get to those SWAC picks and have those conversations. But it's just a pleasure to have a Jackson native here representing the NFL that really loves and know what it means to bleed the blue. Breland, how you feeling, man? How's everything going in your life?
Man, I'm good, man. Just been training, just staying down with all this COVID stuff going on down here in Dallas, Texas. Of course, they just opened things up in Texas and in Mississippi. Just been trying to stay safe. Just been working out, staying at the home, cooking my own meals. Just been trying to stay out the way. Been on the PS5 a little bit too much, but hey, it's all season.
It is.
No doubt. Breland, and Neely touched on it. You grew up on that sideline watching your brother, who was one of the most ferocious linebackers to play at Jackson State. What are some of the things that you love from him, Marcelo Speaks, in terms of his tenacity and everything that he brought to the Jackson State dark side defense?
You actually hit the right word, tenacity. He brought a vicious, ferocious type demeanor to that defense, and most people don't know this. Marcellus came on as a walk-on. People don't know what 06, what we transferred from Delta State. We was with the Statesmen, I think freshman year to midway sophomore. Then we transferred to Jackson State in 06, and we're not even allowed to work out in the facility. Yeah, we got to work out in Walter Payton. Marcel is working out in the Walter Payton with his best friend, Chris Minogue. Shout out to Minogue in time. That was the story. So that's kind of how I got into the Jackson State family, just being around him, hearing him stories, hearing him come home. Like, man, I can't even work out with the team yet. Like, I gotta go work out at the Walter Payton separate. I gotta get it on my own. Then to turn around and bring it in 07 and like you said, get that SWAC championship. But it was a grind for bro. And one thing that I learned from him and I took from him was he was a coach on the field. He was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like he was universal in his coverage, but also just as vicious in the run game. Like that, I felt like that's where he hung his hat, because Marcellus kind of got that leeway. The coaches over there gave him the leeway to kind of do his own thing, which when you got a guy who's studying just as much as the coaches, yeah, he could do his own thing, and he could put guys in places like you had Marcus Bernard, Big Atkins down there, D tackle. Man, them guys are nasty, dog. Like, and it's crazy. I probably was just like 10 or 11 when all of this was going on. I'm playing Little League football for the Jackson Panthers. Shout out to PU Net out west over there behind the police academy, right there off Robinson. But shoot, man, I wanted to be just like them. I thought that was the NFL, watching them guys and seeing all them guys and knowing that my brother was like, oh my God, like he's the leader of them all. Like he the one. So shoot, I just tried to take everything that I saw him do and implement it in my own way into my game.
That's actually just what I was about to touch on, Breland. When you're getting out of Callaway and you go up to Ole Miss and then you go into the NFL, how much of that JSU sideline dynamic fostered your game even to this day when you saw that tenacity and that independence to move around and wreak havoc in the run game, the pass game, etc.? How much is that still influencing you?
People don't realize this, but I'm a band geek. I'm a band geek through and through. I played snare, Callaway, Capital City, all district. I did it all. I say this one thing: if I had an opportunity to play in front of the boom, I would have been all world. And I still listen to the boom to this day. I'm talking about I'm still YouTube and I'm still up with Mr. Little. Of course, I'd have had him as band director and like Capital City all district type band. So I'm very familiar with him. So man, it's kind of like something ain't on you, it's in you. And it's like that Jackson State. I don't know what it is about it, but it's like I to this day I still go to high spots. I still on the yard. Like I'm still, you know what I mean? Like it's something you can't even describe. And for me to not even go to Jackson State, but have such a big tie to it and implement it even into, like I was saying, into my game now. Sure, I still listen to Talking Out the Side of Your Neck before pregame, before for the NFL games. Dog. Like,
nice.
Man, that people don't understand that 07 showdown at Southern where they had double seeding and they put the boom in the corner. Like that's what I remember about. That's me. That's me.
Sure.
You feel me? Yeah. So like that's
still mad about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mad, and we smashed them. Yeah. We smashed them. And we went down there and they were talking.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So
well, Breland, you know, we brought you on as a celebrity guest picker today. A lot of action around the SWAC. We're going to go through some of those games. Tell us who you think will come out on top. We got Alabama A&M and South Carolina State. Alabama A&M, they go to South Carolina State.
Alabama A&M, South Carolina State. I got a few friends from South Carolina State, so shoot, we might have to go with South Carolina State on that one.
No doubt. Right. UAPB, they go down to Baton Rouge to take on the Southern Jaguars.
I think the Jags come away with that one. I think they are one of the heavy hitters in the SWAC. Shoot, I think they come away with that one.
And tonight we have Texas Southern visiting Prairie View. Who do you have in that one?
Interstate battle. That's kind of a toss-up for me. I go Texas Southern.
Go Texas Southern on the road. All right, the big one. Jackson
man.
State.
Now we just had we had Chad Williams on, another NFL guy, and he picked Graham 30 at JSU 22. So give us not only your winner, Breland, give us the score.
That's crazy because he floating around what my number was gonna be. I was gonna go Jackson State 35-21. That's what I was going.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
There it is.
Brilliant, man. We appreciate you coming by and joining us on the pregame show, brought to you by the Black College Sports Network and Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Man, we're just excited about your future. Looking forward to seeing you with the New York Giants in this upcoming season. Congratulations again on getting that Super Bowl ring. You know, nothing like being a champion. You take that title for life, brother. And you have always represented JPS. And like you said, your family ties to Jackson State with your brother and family, and always have bled the blue, even from another conference. So we love you, man. We're proud of you and appreciate you coming by.
Thank y'all for having me, man.
No doubt. Thank you, Breland.
Good deal. Appreciate
you. All
Chuck,
right.
we got about a minute or so before we're going to shift to ESPN3. So we encourage everybody out there, man, to watch that game. Tigers kick off at noon. Probably going to be a slightly afternoon kickoff. Sometimes it's a 12:01 or 12:05. So, Chuck, I got to ask you, man, you know, what are your thoughts going to this game? What do we need to see out of the Tigers?
Out of the Tigers, I want to see that improvement from game 1 to game 2. I thought we did a pretty good job against Edward Waters. Protect the football. Everything starts right there. Can we get that running game going against this tough Grambling front seven? I think that's going to be the determining the game. Coach O talked about you have to be physical. I love our Tigers in this one today. I think we can go down to the hole, get the win. I think it'll be a defensive fight. I got us with scoring about 20, 24 points.
All right. Well, you know, that's about right on line with our traditional average against those guys. Even in those losses, we were putting up anywhere around 25 points. It had a high one time of 53. But I'm with you, Chuck. I think defense is going to spell out what we do. I think we're still doing some evaluation things with the passing game, even though we had much success against Everett Waters. Looking for a big run game. This is a true measuring stick game. Didn't get that next game with Valley, so we've been off a couple of weeks. Going to see if I think the key is not turning the ball over, not making those mistakes, getting some good defensive stops, and controlling that clock with the run game like we did at Everett Waters and letting that open up the pass. So I'm going, of course, with the Tigers over Grambling. Don't know what the score would be, but looking forward to that halftime discussion, man, with you, and going to have Chad back on at halftime. Also have another special guest talk about the offensive side of the ball back with us at halftime as well.
No doubt. We'll come back with rapid reaction at halftime. For my partner, Neely, Charles Bishop, this has been Tiger Talk Live with the 1400 Club on the Black College Sports Network. We'll see you at halftime, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame. Brought to you by Chambers and Galen Law Firm with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.